and we bring some real power, we got to invoke Sekhmet. Now, the first thing I want to do is want to get into some things, and to go into these things, we want to get into some current events. We want to clear up some things that happened on this whole OJ thing. You know what I'm saying? We want to get that out of the way because my name is Brother Bobby Hemmitt, and what I deal with is stuff basically from the hierarchy. Okay, the first thing I want to say is a lot of people might not agree with what I have to say. It might sound strange, but then again, if you weren't open to additional information, why the hell even come out in the first place? I mean, if your God is doing it for you and you think you got the end all and be all the knowledge, why even come out to seek knowledge in the first place? You understand what I'm saying? Why even come out? You want me to turn it this way or something?
Yes.
Well, I got to have it either way. I got to have it either way. So which one would you want to do?
I just wish you would respect the
I understand that, but I got to have a speaker. You understand what I'm saying? Well, you want me to, okay. Slide over some more. Well, I can do it over here. Don't make a difference.
It's the mic.
Oh, the mic. This way. This way. That's cool. Is that cool? Can you hear me? Can you hear me fine? Is everything all right? Is everything cool?
Move the mic back.
Move it back this way, right? Okay, here.
No. Back towards you.
Back towards me. Oh, what about that? That's fine? Behind the speaker. Okay, cool. All right. Now we're ready. Okay, now I can pull this over a little bit. Okay, you got it. All right, okay. Now, since we got the technical difficulties done. Huh?
Pull the mic towards you behind the speaker.
Lungs behind the speaker.
Lungs behind the speaker, sorry.
Yes, it's okay. All right. Okay. I want to get into a few things right here. Number one, like I said, if I know if some of these things might sound strange. Strange, let's say the truth is stranger than fiction. And number one, in this day and age, if you are hearing things that you are used to hearing and you still in hell, then obviously you must seek alternative things to expand your mind. You understand? If there's such thing as 360 degrees of knowledge, then when a person is coming up and giving you things that might sound strange, if you say that person is crazy, then you must have the handle on it. You must have all the knowledge that you're supposed to have. And my point is, if you got all this particular knowledge or spirituality, why the hell are you still in hell? Right? Why you haven't gotten out of anything at this particular point? You know what I'm saying? Number one, so I want to get into a few things that's getting ready to go, and I'm going to run down a list of things that's coming in the current events. Number one, I will say this. You can't buy your way out of this. You can't make no deals with the devil. And I'll say this because I don't want to put no spoof on nobody that's coming for liberation. But in the last days, the devil is going to talk about reparations. He's going to talk about reparations. He's going to talk about giving you all this money to keep you from taking back your planet.
Oh, okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't give a damn about no Black's Law Dictionary, because my thing is this: if the white man didn't want you to know about it, you couldn't go to no Barnes and Nobles to get it. Otherwise, you could have gotten it from Barnes and Nobles in 1947. All this is one thing. You want money, and the Brotherhood has already said that you're supposed to get your planet back. Now, what's it going to be? You going to go for a few 30 pieces of silver, or you going to get your doggone planet back? You understand what I'm saying? Number two, like I said, you, in your original form, you was not into what this particular civilization that you see, even in Kemet. All you Egyptologists, and believe me, I'm an Egyptologist too. That's what I'm trained in as far as things. You did not come from Kemet. You came from Atlantis and Lemuria, or Alchemoria, places that you don't want to claim, not a damn white boy claiming. And at that particular time, just like Manetho said, you were gods. And anything that you could think of in your mind, you used to do with your body, both physical and spiritual. So therefore, if the earth is taken another spin in the 26,000 year history and going back to the original form, all the doggone things that you're trying to build is not even the point. You won't even recognize this planet in the next 2-3 years. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, my concern is not for you to get all caught up in trying to get paid and trying to make equal this white man society. At this particular time, you're supposed to be doing one thing and one thing only, and that's becoming gods. And anything that you spend time on is keeping you from going within. You understand what I'm saying? So now let's get with some real science here. First of all, we're going to tackle this O.J. Simpson case. Somebody get me a thing. I need to wipe this up. Somebody get me some paper napkins before this thing dries up. We're going to tackle this O.J. Simpson thing. Okay, yeah. If somebody get me something now, we can get this candle up.
It's easy to get up if it dries.
If it dries?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. All right. Based on the hierarchy, I am in touch with the hierarchy. A brother by the name of Awas, that in his biblical form he would be Melchizedek. Another name for him would be Al-Sut, which would be one of the original names for the Godhead. And since the last weekend in October, I went to a funeral up here in Long Island, and when I came back that last weekend in October, I was in the Sphinx Metaphysical bookstore, and I met up with this particular cosmic being. So the things that I'm giving you is actual things on another realm, and it's not just coming from books, even though we use books to substantiate a certain amount of things. You understand? But so when we do things, like Brother Dawood said, we need to check things out in the spirit. Now, I'm usually a little louder, and I'm usually a little on fire, but maybe the spirit can hit. But I just did a lecture in Columbia, South Carolina last night, and then I had to go drive back to Atlanta, and we took all night to do that, and then I had to get on a plane, and I had to come here, and then the plane was delayed, so I hadn't had any sleep in almost 2 days. So, but what's really interesting, or what's really important, is the information. You understand what I'm saying? I'm quite sure you know we always like to up things, and I usually give it to you. But what's going down now is the actual information. So the first thing I want to do is I want to give you the scenario based on the cosmic realm on Brother O.J. Simpson. Now, number one, like I said before, nothing pleased me more than to see this nigga in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because he gave black people his ass to kiss, and based on the cosmic realm, they're saying because they're giving everybody this raw ass whipping. Number one, if you are offended by my speech as far as my profanity, remember what you think is curse words. There wasn't even no English language around when so-called the biblical law and the moral law was even thrown down. So therefore, what you think is curse words is nothing but just mere words. You understand what I'm saying? So we'll just use those as figures of speech since we have adopted them as our official language of the ghetto anyway. And you know what, in actuality, it's something spiritual about it, because that's just like putting emphasis on it. It sounds better if you curse. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And at this particular time, I think the moral laws is only laws that was put out for the savage man in a book and in papers, so that he can learn how to behave, but it was actually your nature. So you already know how to behave. You should have learned that by the age of 12. So therefore, you don't need to go up in no church and have no man hollering at you on how to behave. I can say at this particular time, I'm going ahead of myself, but at this time, you know doggone well, if anything has failed you, the white man in some of his system has done better than you, than some of the things that's going on in the church. There's one thing about the church. It saved you from going crazy out of slavery. But you know that used to be your snake venom, but if you keep on taking the snake venom, you got to have another antidote for the snake venom. And if there's any place that God is in here, God is in the pool hall, but one place God is not. He is not in the church. That's why the white man got one on every corner. You understand what I'm saying? There's nobody go to church more than we do. And there's nobody in more trouble than we are, and as crazy as we are. So that ought to let you know that if God is anywhere, one place he's not. He's not in that damn church. You understand what I'm saying? He's not in that church. You can bear witness to that. You know what I'm saying? Because the only thing is in that church, only God is in that church, the God you believe is in that doggone preacher. And that's why that preacher can tell you any doggone thing. For the simple fact, you believe he is God. And he's a man that was taught, he doesn't even know that. The preacher knows, I can actually say the preacher knows nothing about religion or nothing about spirituality at all. All that is some kind of religious ceremony that he was taught by the white man. So therefore, I can say that in actuality, and you can, and really this is not to please anybody. The place that you're doing is, in this day and time, what you are doing is, if you go into doggone church on Sunday, you're wasting your time. Now, I'm not saying anything about the Bible. I'm not saying anything about the Quran, because there's a difference between scriptures and religion.
That's right.
The scriptures have juice in it and have the meat in it, because the scriptures came from us. Even if they did take down 18 books out, it's still our juice. But when you go into a dogmatized way of looking at it, you're being controlled by it. You understand what I'm saying? So the best thing you can do, if you're into the Bible, stay home with it and go into it. Other than going to the doggone church and listen to 5 disco songs and some doggone man holler at you for damn 15 minutes. You understand what I'm saying? Man, he start off and quote 2 or 3 scriptures and he starts hollering. You understand? And I know this for a fact. They actually have hooping classes. They call it the hooping classes at ITC in Atlanta, Georgia. I got a friend named Tony Minor, and when I first came to Atlanta, he was in the class where you learn how to doggone hoop. And he was taking this because for some reason, we was working on Martin Luther King's son campaign back then. And he was actually in this class, and it was damn near finals time, and this nigga was hooping. So this is the kind of foolishness that's going on. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said before, in the last days, the evil eye is the doggone TV set. But if you get any kind of cable, and you turn that TV set, every other station is somebody up there hollering about a Bible. So obviously, if the beast knows that in the last days there's a doggone TV set that is controlling the people, and he got all the doggone religion on there, you ought to know that that's a part of the control. And we'll get into that in a minute, because the aliens have already said that they had to get rid of anything to get rid of these damn religions. Not the scriptures, but the doggone organized religions that's got people locked down, because the only people can't really bear witness to nothing is somebody that's always sanctified or somebody that's a doggone Orthodox Muslim. You understand what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And if your God is doing something for you, why you got to pray every 5 seconds? You understand what I'm saying? If your God is sufficient, why you got to pray every doggone 5 seconds? The aliens already done said, as well as the cosmic high order of Melchizedek. We already said, they're tired of y'all praying all the time. You the gods. Is it not written in your law that ye are God? Now, going back to this O.J. Simpson thing. Like I said, if you got the book Out of Bounds, they've already told you that O.J. Simpson didn't want nothing to do with black people. And like I said, when he was in the bars, black women would come up to him and some other football players, and they wouldn't even speak to black women. But the white women come up, they'd set it out for them. Drinks on the house. You see? Now all of a sudden, you know, but we understand the white man misconstrued one thing. Number one, he thought that O.J. Simpson was a role model for black people. Hell, the nigga been out of the limelight since doggone 1978. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody, half the people in their 20s say, who the hell is O.J. Simpson? You understand what I'm saying? So they misconstrued it, but they're not even, it's not even based on O.J. Simpson. It's a training ground of things to come. Just like the Rodney King thing. Now, you burnt down California and almost like the damn got your head beat in New York. You didn't jump bad, but we got our behind beat in Atlanta, Georgia. And while the people was getting their, sisters was getting their head beat in with the doggone billy clubs in the AU Center, he was on TV talking about, can we all get along? Rodney King is an asshole. You understand? He's a straight up asshole. You understand? And we understand that the cops burned up half the buildings and stuff, but we understand that that was a test run for martial law. And we also know that this is a test run for martial law because Bill Clinton signed the martial law bill last month. You understand what I'm saying? So that was a test run. But what really happened to him, based on what my psychic sister said, and I went home and my mother and them was laughing at me. Now that nigga did it. He did it. And he beat that woman, and you see, they got all emotional because he beat a woman. I said, that's the difference between beating a white woman ass and a black woman's behind. I said, the only reason why they leave the doggone black woman because they know the black woman don't take no jump. So they go get them damn white women because they docile so they can kick them in the ass. I said, so, and believe me, Any feminist movement that's going on, they get you to doggone stand up for them. When the shit hit the fan, they're going to be with their white man. You understand what I'm saying? So who gives a doggone because he kicked the doggone white woman in the ass? How many doggone white women done kill black people? You see what I'm saying? How many white women is responsible for black people getting killed? You understand what I'm saying? I was reading in a book one time, it was one white woman said, every time I get down on my luck, she said, I go in the black community and get me a black man, and he'll work his ass off for me. And when I get on my feet, I dump his behind. You understand? Now, all she did was she dumped him. She got her money, and she got paid, and she got the hell on. But this is what really happened. I'm not coming to his defense, but I'm trying to show you what really happened. This is what happened on the spiritual realm. The sister that I'm in contact with is one of the best in the world. She not only is just your regular psychic, where she got the decipher the vision, she's got a direct telephone to God. And anytime I want to speak to God, I dial her, and God comes and speaks to me through her. And I'm not talking about no bull jive like no preacher saying, every preacher talking about God done talk to them. You see what I'm saying? God done talk to them. You know, God done talk to me, and God told me to tell you to drop your drawers. You know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff like that. I'm talking about some real spiritual manifestation. Now, I tell you what, I know it's hot, but then again, are we going to go down as a bunch of Africans? Or no? Are we going to go down as a bunch of Africans that say it was too hot? Because what I have today, we got actual ways on how to take off the beast. You understand what I'm saying? Take out the beast. Okay, so we going to give some solutions. Now, what the sister said is that it wasn't her. It wasn't him. It said it was the white man that got killed was a homosexual. And he had a boyfriend. And the homosexual boyfriend killed her. Now, I told my mother this when I went down to South Carolina this weekend. No, he did it. And I said, and the spirit does things. And I told her right then, I told you, my sister said he didn't do it. I said, I don't care what happened to him. They're going to burn him anyway. You know they're going to burn him behind anyway. Did they go on with the preliminary hearing? Yes. They go on to court? Well, you know that nigga going to get the electric chair. You understand what I'm saying? But the key to this whole thing is trying to show you what's going down. I said the sister already said it. That sister is wrong. Those psychics can be rejected. She is wrong. And the spirit showed my mother and my aunt something last night. No, yeah, was it? What's the date? Went Thursday night. 1 o'clock, Larry King Live came on, and they had this guy with this Indian vest on. I don't know his name. One of the best attorneys in New York, I think. Yeah. Yeah. What's his name? Gary Spence. He came on, and he was saying it's some hogwash. The man is innocent. Yeah. And then he said, and Larry King said, can you tell us what happened? The incident happened. He said, yes, this psychic came and called me and said it wasn't him. It was a white man with brown hair and had a Mexican accomplice. And I said, you see that? And then all of a sudden, they started bearing witness. Then they started saying, well, I can see how he could be framed. Yeah, but when the black man was saying it, you know, but it's just like we've been saying that you live in a racist society forever. And most black people saying you being paranoid. They didn't even get the idea. Now, the Afrocentric community has been going on. We can say, if we want to say the gist of this whole Afrocentric thing, we can say the rise of 10 years ago, 1984, with the first, with Jesse Jackson and Farrakhan being known, and then you had the first ASCAT conference that brought out all these black books. We've been saying the whole thing about the whole racism before, but it took some of 1992 for some white woman to come on Oprah, and some white man to come on over with his book saying we live in a racist society, and all the black people get it all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? So now they're saying he's being set up, but the reason why is because it's a test ground. They're saying if it doesn't work, it's going to